All right, guys, day 2 of Green Bay Packers mandatory minicamp is officially in the books, and that does it for minicamp. It's a 3-day event, but the third day of practice tomorrow is typically canceled for a team-building event. So that should do it for minicamp for the Green Bay Packers. Now we wait for training camp about 6 weeks away. But nonetheless, let's recap everything that happened in today's practice, including a huge touchdown to end practice for the offense. I also just released a highlight video from today's practice. If you want to go watch that after this one, you can find it over there on my channel. Also, go down and hit that subscribe button if you want to stay in the loop with everything Green Bay Packers this offseason. News, analysis, updates, highlight videos from every single practice open to the media. You'll find it all here on this channel. All right, so first and foremost, the Green Bay Packers made a new signing last night. Figured I'd loop it into this video to kind of go over this signing before I go over the practice notes. The Packers have signed a new defensive lineman, and that is defensive lineman Cameron Young, formerly from the Seattle Seahawks. Young, a 6'3", 304-pound, third-year player out of Mississippi State, was originally selected by the Seattle Seahawks in the 4th round of the 2023 draft. He played in 17 games with 1 start for the Seahawks in 2 seasons, recording 18 tackles, 10 of them solo, a tackle for loss, a quarterback hit, and a pass defensed. In college, Young started 25 of 42 games played for the Bulldogs, posting 107 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks in 5 seasons. So the Packers adding more nose tackle depth to compete with Nazir Stackhouse, another free agent they brought in undrafted from this season, to see who wins that role. All right, so as for minicamp day 2, first let's go over attendance. Not much too different from yesterday's practice, except for 2 new additions that joined the rehab group. So first, no one was absent from practice today. Again, it's mandatory. Everyone showed up. But there were 2 new additions to the rehab group, and that was left tackle Rasheed Walker and cornerback Nate Hobbs. So Rasheed Walker didn't get any first-team reps yesterday. I'm not sure if he got second-team reps. I wasn't aware. But maybe he was dealing with an injury yesterday, and they just threw him on the rehab the last day of practice today. But nonetheless, Jordan Morgan took his spot at left tackle. And Nate Hobbs, we also saw him out, I believe it was the 2nd day of OTAs. So not sure if they're just giving him a rest day due to something on the 2nd day of practice. They did it for OTAs. Maybe they're doing it now for minicamp. Again, we don't have any disclosure in terms of what the potential injury or if it's a personal matter. We don't really know. So they joined the rehab list of Quay Walker, Christian Watson, Michael Robinson, Kalen King, Zane Anderson, Colin Oliver, Aaron Banks, John Oliver, Elton Jenkins, and Julian Hicks. Now going over the lineups on offense and defense, I believe everything is about exactly the same as yesterday, except a few more players taking, some second-team reps at different positions. First, for the offense, this is exactly the same as yesterday, the offensive line. Jordan Morgan at left tackle, number 1. Donovan Jennings still at left guard, number 1, in the absence of Aaron Banks. Jacob Monk still at center, number 1, in the absence of Elton Jenkins. Sean Ryan sticking at right guard, number 1. He's been there all of OTAs, all of minicamp, and same with Zach Tom at right tackle. Anthony Belton got reps at left tackle, number 2 today. The starting receivers today were Romeo Doubs, Dontavian Wicks, Jaden Reed, but obviously they're bringing in Matthew Golden as well. He's gotten first-team reps plenty during OTAs and minicamp. As for the defense, the defensive line was the same as yesterday. Lucas Van Ness, Devontae Wyatt, Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary. The linebackers in nickel, Edgerrin Cooper, Isaiah McDuffie, with Isaiah Simmons, the 3rd linebacker, rotating in, but also Tyron Hopper rotating in some as well. The cornerbacks without Nate Hobbs were as follows, and to be expected, Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine on the outside, and a nickel, Javon Bullard, came down into that nickel cornerback spot. The next 2 cornerbacks on the boundary up after Nixon and Valentine were Bo Melton and Kamal Haddon. So we've heard a lot of good things from Kamal Haddon during OTAs. I believe Keyshawn Nixon mentioned that he was playing at a extremely high level. Again, it's half-speed OTAs, no pads, so take that with a grain of salt. But if someone like Kamal Haddon does step up, I was very high on him before last year's draft coming out of, I believe it was Tennessee. I really liked him coming out of that draft. Surprised he went undrafted. I believe he was with the Seahawks or some team practice squad, then the Packers brought him in. He definitely has a chance to make this roster as a depth rotational corner. And then Bo Melton still taking reps at cornerback. Again, I mentioned it in my highlight video. This doesn't mean he's making a full-time switch to cornerback. He's simply cross-training, and why not? If you can have a player on your 53-man roster that can play all 3 phases of football, offense, defense, as depth for receiver, depth for cornerback, and be a contributor on special teams, that's a massive, massive bonus. The safeties were, as usual, Xavier McKinney and Evan Williams, but we also saw Jonathan Baldwin, who's listed as a cornerback on the Packers roster, but get work with the second team safeties. He's a player that the Packers brought in after the draft, and seemingly they like him a lot. Because he was a priority undrafted free agent, meaning they actually gave him some guaranteed money. They gave him $115,000 guaranteed. So the Packers like him a lot. Maybe they like his versatility. Obviously, him being listed as a corner, taking some reps at second team safety, does say a lot. And also Javon Bullard also took some reps at safety. It's funny because I was just talking about this in the highlight video. Practice was still ongoing when I made that, and I said Bullard mainly just been playing in the nickel, taking reps in the nickel. Who knows if he'll take any in the safety at this point, but he did today. Now going over the 2-minute drills for the offense and defense. The second team offense always starts first, and this was a pretty interesting drive because it was Malik Willis and Cornelius Johnson. That's really it. Malik Willis found Cornelius Johnson 4 times in this drive, and he was the only wide receiver or only player to catch a pass from Malik Willis. He's been one of his favorite targets through OTAs and minicamp so far. He had 4 catches for 48 yards, brought the offense all the way up to the 20-yard line where they spiked it, and then Alex Hale, our international kicker, hit a 37-yarder for the win for the offense. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this practice ended in a big touchdown by the offense, and that was indeed the first team offense in a very interesting drive as well that ended in pretty much fireworks. So the drive started as follows. Jordan Love first hit Romeo Doubs on a slant. Then the next play, it looked like good coverage from Keyshawn Nixon, but the referees threw a flag, so automatic first down by the offense. Then it was followed by a safety blitz by Xavier McKinney, who got a sack off the edge, right? During camp, you don't really hit the quarterback, but it would have been a sack. Then the next play, Valentine jumps the throw, makes a very impressive pass breakup. Then it's 3rd and 20. It's a miscommunication from Jordan Love and a receiver. It's incomplete. No one in the area of the throw. So then the offense has a 4th and 20, and Love finds McCole Hardman deep for a 73-yard touchdown. He caught the ball at about the 30-yard line and then simply outran the defense for a touchdown. Obviously, we know McCole Hardman has tremendous speed, and this was all while Lucas Van Ness had pressure in Love's face, and he threw an absolute dime to McCole Hardman, and the offense won. I really wish the Packers would allow videos during 11v11s. I mean, we're talking about OTAs, non-padded practices. I get if you're trying to install stuff, but you're doing that in private practices anyways. That isn't open to the media at all. We always see over on X and other platforms teams showing their highlights and 1v1s and 11v11s, and we're lucky to still get that. I post them on this channel when people are at training camp and send those clips, but you're actually not allowed to film that stuff for whatever reason for the Packers. I just really wish they would allow it because, yeah, it's great to talk about and see, oh, Jordan Love hit McCole Hardman for a 73-yard touchdown, but we can't see it. None of us will ever be able to see that, at least on video, which I just wish we could. I'm sure you guys agree as well. But those are all the notes I have from the final mandatory minicamp for the Green Bay Packers. Again, we got a little bit of a dry spell here in the offseason after mandatory minicamp, all of June, most of July, but then we enter into the hot stretch. We have tons and tons of training camp, preseason, and then we're already there. Then we're knocking on week 1. So really excited for that. Of course, so really excited for that. Again, go click subscribe. You won't want to miss any of the content throughout this entire off season. Really appreciate you guys coming by. I'll catch you on the next one. And as always, go Pack Go.